Hello and welcome to Uganda Crossroads. My name is David Lubuurwa. And again, I welcome you to this week. And we have received many messages and calls throughout the week regarding our programs. And we want to appreciate you so much for whatever job you're doing out there to watch and share and invite as many people as you always do to watch Uganda Crossroads and other shows we have here on CFTV and Live MTV Live on Facebook. But most importantly, last week was full of, again, drama, just as we've already seen and heard. But where I want to start with is the immaturity, the inability for many of the would-be or even think tanks or even people who love people power movement to make it forward, how they're acting and reacting when there is any issue going on within the movement or even outside the movement itself. These are some of the stories that have really been going on over and over, and our analysts, as always, Sarah Joy Bakanasa and Richard Miombia, are always in the house to come and discuss and break down all these details. We have so many things to talk about. The chameleon saga and People Power joining DP also partly is considering himself as part of People Power. What we don't know is whether these organizations move hand in hand. Those are the answers that these guys will be answering. And of course, we have the Aine saga, the guy who was killed and the reasons we've not had why he was killed. But of course, as insiders and as CFTV, we tried as much as we could to get the information, and we are here tonight to discuss all those issues. So, from wherever you're watching us from, we want to thank you so much, and we appreciate you sharing and inviting as many friends as you can to come and be part of Uganda Crossroads. Guys, I want to thank you for coming back, and I hope your week was good. Sarah, you look good. Richard, you look good. It's really amazing that you guys are back. But Sarah, let me start. You guys first introduce yourselves again. I mean, people are used to you now, but you should introduce yourselves before I start. Let me start with Sarah.
Good afternoon to everyone who is watching us from the east and west coast. And in other countries, especially our friends from Uganda, it is already about 8 p.m. So good evening to everyone watching us from Uganda, from Dubai, from Turkey, from UK, from all other parts of the world. It's always fun to come here and share with you our what we think and analyze the situation and what's happening in Uganda. So good evening, and I wish you a blessed weekend.
All right. Richard, any interesting story this week from you? Basically, not the politics itself.
Yeah. Good evening, viewers, or good afternoon, viewers, wherever you are around the world. My name is Richard Miombia. I'm a political analyst from Uganda, and I'm interested to be in the studio here tonight to see that we analyze issues. Especially this week, we had this interesting story of the tribalism.
All right, so sure. I'm not going to let you go there straight away. So I want to
call as many people as you can, your friends, tell us where you are, and send your questions to our moderator so that we can analyze issues that you also are interested in.
All right, sure. So I want to thank you guys, and I want to get back to the viewers who are watching us from wherever you are. The most important part in this story, last week we had contradictions that are just as have been always going on. People power fighting against each other. Now, I want to start with a post that was put by Sarah Joy Bakanasa. I always like your stuff that you put on air, but I want to read something that you posted on Thursday. You said, I repeat, in one of your segments, and I quote, I repeat, not everything is meant for social media. Not every dirty linen should be exposed publicly. When you bring out issues that would have been solved privately to the public, you will never resolve anything. So what did you mean by posting such a thing?
Basically, my posting came from what has been going on social media, because what you do if you have interest and act and you're an activist in politics, you follow up a number of, basically for you to keep yourself in the know of what is happening, you follow yourself a number of activists that are into the cause as well. So what has been disturbing me is that the continuous attacks, blackmail, propaganda, defamation, mostly by the people power activists that are living abroad. This has, in the beginning it started off as, In the beginning, it was kind of a joke, or it made sense. But then when you see it getting out of hand, you have to speak about it, because at the end of the day, people are deriving away from what we are, the cause. The cause is to see that we get President Museveni out of power, and we've totally moved away from President Museveni. What is happening right now, the activists are putting a lot of time and energy in attacking each other, demeaning each other, bringing themselves down. And we've forgotten at why we started all this. We want to see change coming to Uganda, but we are now attacking each other. We are now away from, for example, I've had so many theories that do not add up, and the people who are spreading them are the people who are on social media 3-4 times a day. I've had Mbazira, that's Bashir Mbazira, poisoned himself. And, you know, and some of these people, the arguments they're giving is, oh, we have people on ground. People on ground are calling us. But you're attacking people on ground. You're abroad, listening to lies. Maybe someone wants some money from you. Listening from lies, listening to propaganda from Kampala because someone gave you a phone call, then that's the gospel truth. Then how far are we going in this? I've listened, I think it started off with one of the guys called Fred attacking, I know Louis, and they were calling him a mole and whatsoever. If Louis does not want to be shown in the camera, he has his own reasons why. But you know, what has happened is we are having a team that was meant to, to educate Ugandans why we need change for starters, to help Ugandans know exactly why the 33 years of President Museveni should come to an end. Now they've focused into tearing down each other. They know who is a mole, they know who received money, they know who killed who. That's where we've gone right now. And conclusive, like my poster said, I think President Museveni, wherever he is right now, he's laughing. I do not know who is paying these people, because it is so absurd, and it saddens to see the diaspora community attacking those at home. So the question I keep asking myself, whose life is at most stake? You who live abroad and you're able to say whatever you want to say at any time, or your brothers and sisters who are back home and you're attacking them, laboring them. Anyone could kill them, because if you, for example, you come up and say Bashir poisoned himself without evidence. What are you planting in people? There are people who believe in Bashir. Bashir has intentions of standing politically for, I think, Kawempe, one of the areas in Kawempe wants to stand for MP. And you're already defaming this guy without evidence. And people come up and speak with a lot of passion, with a lot of, they are so engulfed into this. And there is no truth to this. There is no evidence, because when you ask them for evidence, they claim they know so much. They claim, don't joke with us. We know this. And it is spoiling the entire thing. It is a lot of immaturity. We've moved away from what exactly our real cause was, to see why the people, when I look at the People Power movement from the beginning, it was a movement meant to bring back together Ugandans. And our main goal of Ugandans coming together was to see that we take away the division among ourselves, and to see that we cause change, that we work towards, taking President Museveni out of power. What are we doing right now? We are the #1 at preaching tribalism. We are attacking people's tribes left and right. I'll throw this in. I was in the beginning. There was this guy who used to sit on one of the he comes on to Facebook Live, and his issue was he started his attacks on Nseleko, Mohammed Nseleko, that his real name is Nyereko, is an Emunubi. It doesn't matter. I do not care whether Nseleko is a Muganda or a Emunubi. It doesn't matter. All of us, Uganda is full of intermarriages that are so many people married to one person or another. But if People Power is meant to unify, and the People Power activists are attacking Nseleko of being a Monobi, yet Bobby Wine's best friend, Nubianli, is a Monobi. What message are you sending to Nubianli? Are you including him? Nubianli, when he sits back, when he watches these live videos, you attacking Nseleko because of being a Monobi. Banobi people, and they're supposed to be Ugandans. So you mean to be a Monobi is bad? So, sometimes I feel like we don't use common sense in some of the things we are discussing and putting out there. Or everyone, because you have a phone, you have data, then you should come live and say whatever you have to say. Right. I think the activism has to get to another level of maturity where we move past these, Bobby Wine is married to a lady who comes from the West. But we are attacking each other. We've gone tribal, we've gone... I concluded my post by saying, if we do not change and we continue like this, President Museveni is coming back for another term.
All right, sure. So, Richard, I want to come back to you. I want to get to you, actually. On Sarah's post, she said, our lack of maturity and inability to think before we act is going to destroy people power cause. What do you make of it?
You cannot destroy people power. It's too late. You know, people don't know the background of people power. People power, if you see countries where people power has come, it's a solidarity movement. Everyone who has seen the tricks of Museveni right from 1986 when he came, that I'm going to put the country in order. I'm going to make propose a constitution. Now this is my first term. Now this is my second term. I'm going to amend the constitution. And now I'm life president until I die, and then I bring in someone. So people came together to see that this foolishness in the country stops. What happened was that Honorable Chagwen, our friend or our leader, came out on the right time to unite the people. You can never, whatever you do, I've watched histories of solidarity coming together and bringing down a government. I'll give you an example. The issue of this country that brought down the Soviet Union, the solidarity movement, it was the same as people power, where people came together as a nation
but the problem,
and liberated themselves.
The problem is, recently there were attacks against Mohamed Nsereko for publicly coming out and, you know, showing the communication between him and Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi. And people power supporters disagreed with what he did. And what we're seeing today is that people power supporters are fighting against each other. Does that make the movement strong, or it weakens the movement?
No. In every society, in every revolution, there are negative people and there are positive people. The real cause of the solidarity movement of people power is to remove President Museveni. These are jokes that come out in the middle of a small arguments. The real argument is Museveni going yes or not with people power. This small talk Nyereko here and this one cannot stop any movement from now coming down. It's too late.
What I'm going to say, and you know, I want us to be, when discussing this, to be more subjective and not, I'm a people power activist, 100%. I want to see President Museveni go. I believe in change. But there are mistakes we are going to repeat, all there are things we are going to do, and if we do not address them, it is completely going to affect us. Definitely what you've mentioned was double standards, of which it's our own selves who are going to come up and clean up whatever mess we are creating so that we can be able to go forward. Because from the live video I watched, it was very easy for the gentleman who started, you know, the attacks on Louis to contact the people concerned. Contact Joel, contact Bobby Wine, contact Louis himself. Because if you come up and start putting out the dirty linen of the people you're working with in public, then you're not helping. You're not helping, because let me tell you one thing. As we are meant to be an organized group that is supposed to move the cause forward, let's not forget there are so many people who are not yet sold to what we are doing. There are so many Ugandans who do not understand why we need change. There are so many Ugandans who are comfortable in their state. Sometimes when you're poor for so long, you begin to believe that you are meant to be, you're born to be poor, and that's how life is supposed to be. There are so many Ugandans like that. But what I'm saying, we put in a lot of time in fighting one another, and we are drailing away from the main cause. Because if we took our time every time for everyone who came on social media to speak about why we need change, why President Museveni should go, we talk about these issues passionately, the same way we talk about issues of bringing down each other on a daily basis. And what I hate is that people power diaspora. I'm telling you, I do not know, because if they are calling each other, you know, they are calling the people back home moles, then who is paying them to destroy the people back home? They could be moles as well. Because, you know, no one is going to arrest them, so you can say anything you want about everyone. We need, this completely has to stop. This completely has to stop. It is completely very unfair, and I've seen so many videos. People are being demotivated. People are oh, this one cannot, this one can. So it is something we need really to work on. And let's not forget, you people, whoever thinks it is gonna be an easy ride for 2021, you are a joker. If you're playing the hide and seek and you know, and the games now of attacking each other and failing to understand exactly why are we in this cause and what do we want to achieve at the end, we are fighting a losing battle. We need to go back to the drawing board and say, why are we in this?
All right, so you know that when I go straight away to last time we were supposed to talk about Jose Comedian or Joseph Mayanja joining DP, and we were almost going to talk about it, but we ran out of time. So today is the right time. I want you guys to digest this. Comedian, recently people knew him as a very good NRM supporter, but he clearly came out and said, no, I've never been an NRM supporter. I went there to make money, like any other person, like any other Ugandan. We've had several times Bobby Wine going for shows with these NRM guys before the People Power movement came strong. And he was so strong about it. So I want you guys to break down. Was the decision made by Comedian right, according to you, People Power guys? I want to start with Richard.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen to us tonight. Let me tell you something. Whatever starts in the center, in the capital, especially Kampala, determines the temperatures of the whole country. Comedian is a movement man. The president pays him and say go and confuse him and gives him money. Because if you look at Ankara, Turkey, there was a repeated election, and again the opposition took it. Because the President Erdogan, the city, what comes out of the city determines the whole country, because people gauge the temperatures of what actually is happening, because there are people in the villages that do not know how to make a decision. But when they see a decision being made in the capital city, and especially in the city, let it be mayorship, let it be MOPs, it determines the whole country. That's why Museveni is fighting, and that's why he's paying so much Comedian to bring him in different colors. You go and inflate these people, especially DP. What is he going to get out of this man of DP? Who is a Museveni man, this DP man now? What do you think he's going to do? It's Museveni who told him, now I've given you so much money, go use it, go behind them in their colors and do it for me, I'll pay you very well. That's it. The people of Uganda and the people of Kampala will not at any time support him, whatever way he comes in a different color. I will come back to you, Sarah.
My assertion on when it comes to Comedian, definitely, I know Comedian is not going to win Kampala. I can tell you that. Comedian is going to win Kampala. But what I don't understand, and that's why I say in this debate today I want to be very subjective, very open-minded. What I do not understand, sometimes I don't like double standards, especially when it's okay to work for the other person, it cannot work for this other person. For me, I believe Comedian when he says he was in NRM, he was working, he was making money. Comedian was hired as a musician to sing for that time of Tubonganao. In that period of Tubonganao, it wasn't only Comedian.
There was Hildeman.
Hildeman was there. The likes of, there's this guy in Golden Band.
Ronald
Mayinja. And most of them were there, but they're going to stand. No one is attacking them. So the double standards I do not want there is for someone to say, oh, Comedian used to work for NRM. All these other artists, instead of inclusive Hildeman, went and sang and they were paid. And they did not refuse the money. Definitely, from the YC Comedian, there is no way he could go and sing for free when it comes to an NRM. He was paid, it was strictly business. As a musician, he's meant to work wherever he wants to work. And the decision to pick up the money to go and sing was entirely his. He would have refused like Bobby Wine did. But maybe Comedian loves money. So that double standard, I don't want it when people discuss it. Then the other thing I do not understand, and I want people who are listening to get this and clearly, is what I didn't understand. I didn't understand the attack on Bobby Wine for joining DP. Don't be confused. Comedian is going to win Kampala. The people who are standing, whether Lubuurwa comes back or any other person, they are too strong for Comedian.
Chameleon is good. Yes, he's a musician, but he cannot win. Kampala is past who sings best. Kampala is past who has so many hits. It past that. The people of Kampala are very sane. They know what they are doing. They understand. Even I keep telling people, in Seleko, if People Power does not get a very good candidate to stand against Seleko is going to beat them and come back. You need someone who is good. So this one, we should take away emotions, we should take away, and we should be very subjective when we are choosing people who are going to represent. But let me ask you. So for the sake of Chameleon, the attacks I did not understand, because I saw Chameleon being attacked for joining DP, and he's still attacked by some of the activists in People Power. So what I didn't understand is, DP is a political party, right? People Power is a movement. So what's wrong with joining a political party and still being a movement? Because one is a political party, the other one is a movement. So I do not understand if some of us who speak for people or who do activism for People Power really understand what People Power stands for. Because I think whoever has a phone and whoever can go live on Facebook, then they go out and put out their point, minus completely digesting and understanding what is People Power. Whether Chameleon joins DP, maybe he wanted it, because people right now, there are people who would be standing on the People Power card, but they would be interested to stand on the People Power card, but People Power is not a political party. And maybe those who are right now under People Power, who want to contest under People Power, they are doing it in hoping that maybe Bobby Wine will endorse them. Because in People Power, unless you've been doing something on ground, or unless Bobby Wine endorses you, you might end up losing an election. Because we should not fail to understand that some of these people, some of the constituents where these people are going, people don't even understand very well what it means. People may think you want to change President Museveni, but the rest are okay. So you need to understand. So I didn't understand the attacks on Chameleon. For me, I looked at it as a double standard, because if People Power is not a political party, let Chameleon join DP, whatever he wanted to join, whether he joins CP or JEMA, let him join. The issue right now we should be discussing, is Chameleon capable of taking Kampala to another level? The answer is no. He's not the right candidate to represent Kampala, period.
All right, I'm going to come back to you, Sarah, over the same issue before we move to something else. Richard, Chameleon is not the right candidate for Kampala, but let me ask a question. All these musicians we have seen joining politics, at one time we said they were not the right people. In other words, Bobby Wine himself, we at one time said he wasn't the right guy, but right now we see he's the right guy to be the next president of Uganda. Don't you think it's unfair if we say the other way to Chameleon?
What does Chameleon represent? What does he want? Does he represent the Ugandan people? Does he represent Yoweri Kaguta Museveni? That's the issue. The people of Kampala have been subjected to so much oppression by the government. Look at the last election alone. Yeah. The ballot papers in Kampala, just 2 miles away from the Electoral Commission, came at 2 p.m. so that the people might not choose who they want. Because, as I told you, the temperature in Kampala determines the whole country. They have been subject to every rule. What Nsereko has done now that seems to have him come back as MP of Kampala is to bring this landlord bill, what I call the Nsereko bill, so that he might say, oh, you people have represented you, which I fought against and which I still fight against. Because you cannot tell people who have built and who have borrowed money from the bank using foreign exchange and tell them they're supposed to be paying
in dollars,
in Ugandan shillings, when Uganda Revenue Authority is collecting money in dollars. So the people of Kampala, which is the center of trade, have so much to represent and to give to the Ugandan people, of which this man, Chameleon, does not have. Only a candidate favorable to the people of Uganda and Kampala will give, and they'll give him the vote.
All right, so Sarah, you know, that story can never end, because I'm seeing too many or too much double standards within these movements. Because the question that, before I actually go to the next issue, that I always ask myself, or even when we were discussing with my producers, was, why is it that people who are in NRM are not part of the People Power, and yet People Power is for all, those who believe in NRM or those who believe in other organizations? Sarah, I want you to answer that question, because there are many people who are asking that question.
I think we need, at this point in time, we need to be inclusive. We need to be inclusive. I think sometimes where we go wrong, or where is, for example, if someone, I saw one of the MPs who was, I've forgotten the name. He wanted, his aim, but he declared is now people power. And some of the things I saw, oh, we do not need you, stay where you are. I think we say one thing but want to do the other. If we say we are inclusive, let us be inclusive. And let's mean what we say. Let's not just put out words, let it be action. Let's really mean what we say out. Because people power is meant for everyone. And the movement is good, what it stands for is good, but we just need to polish up and clean up a few things where we are going astray, all the mistakes we are making. We just need to clean up a little bit. And it's going to be better. Everyone is bound to make mistakes. This is something that it just came up by storm. And many Ugandans are still, if you ask so many Ugandans what is people power, some of them do not even know how to explain or expound it. But we will get there, but we need to understand it is supposed to be inclusive. If someone today woke up and left NRM and say, you know, I have seen the lights, now I want to join the movement, it should be welcomed. We should not label this person. It should not become a mole. It should not become because people are bound. There are so many people who have left other parties and joined, you know, and joined maybe NRM and maybe joined People Power. So we should learn to be more, you know, inclusive. We should learn to give people a benefit of doubt. Because how are you going to know if they are moles or if they are really the real deal? If they are gonna work with us or not?
All right, sure. Let me go straight to the people who are watching us online. I've been informed by my producer that today we have the opportunity that people can call in. So very soon I'll be letting you know when you can start calling in. The number to call if you're in the United States or Canada, 617-402-0880. Again, it's 617-402-0880. Then for those who are outside America, they can call via WhatsApp. The number is +27 73 622 6233. Again, it is +27 73 622 6233. So very soon I'll be letting you know when the lines will be open, so you can call in and, you know, give your idea, give your suggestion, what you think about what we're talking about here today and what you know. Thank you. So guys, I want to come back to you. It's very interesting now that Uganda is full of the new term. It's not new actually. It's something that has been existing. Tribalism. Most importantly, it came out last week when Aino was killed early in the morning. Now, what we have not received yet is how was this guy killed? Was he killed out of him causing the problem, or it was just maybe the askari was drunk, which is unbelievable. So trust me, I want to start with Richard. You've been following that story so much, and when we're talking about it, you know, digest it.
Let me tell viewers tonight, I think Honorable Chagwan and People Power are going to solve this. This issue that came out this week, the whole of the media in Uganda and the people of Uganda were saying, let me even say it in Uganda, omwana w'engoma bamukuteko. That the guy who killed, the askari who killed this man and shot him in the mouth was like punishing him for their bad mouthing of the other people. Because the country right now is bleeding because of tribalism. When President Museveni came to power, the first bill introduced in the NRS, I remember it very well, it was the Secretarian Bill. Before Museveni came and as the Bush war was being fought, he said that part of the problem was sectarianism. Calling people Banyarwanda, calling people Baganda. We could be killed for being a Muganda. You could be killed for being a Northerner. You could be killed, whatever part of the country you were, or the rebel group part you were, you could be killed for being part of the other group. So the first bill introduced was the Sectarian Bill to stop this tribalism, and said it was going to introduce a system of government that will create equal opportunity. If you look very well on the first interview of Joseph Kony in the northern Uganda, he said that the reason why they had been fighting in the northern Uganda and him, Joseph Kony, was the Acholi and the Langi people seems to have been left out of the national cake. Now Museveni comes as a reformer to put the country back into shape. The war was fought in Ruel on the Buganda land. He comes as a reformer to stop all this, and then he did exactly even worse than the other did by giving the bread and the national cake from the army, the resources of the country, the position in the country to one side, who have eaten to the extent of nowhere to put the fats that they have eaten. And other people are eating bones and clicking the residues on behalf of other people. He has created sectarianism to the level of what you've seen today. I think what is going to happen in the country is that this is a wake-up call. As a wake-up call that Museveni has failed in his policy, is not going to solve tribalism. The only person that is going to solve tribalism is Honorable Chagwe. Why? Look at the wife he married. He never married the wife because he was going to run for the president of Uganda. No, it just came as a chance that he's there as a leader of people power. But he himself, Museveni, that was fought against tribalism all his life, has created even more to the extent of this. What is going to happen now is that the people in government, the people in the army, must wake up exactly like the way they woke up on the days of Milton Obote. Remember, the Milton Obote, the way he was removed from power was because the Achoris and the Langis who had the gun said, you are the source of our trouble. For the Banyankwa that are listening to us tonight, I don't hate Banyankwa, I don't hate Banyarwanda. I love them, I love their women. I can marry in their family. People know me for that. I love them very well, for the record. But I'm telling you, unless they wake up now and get rid of Museveni out of power and hand over the power to the people that are represented, that are supposed to govern the people, or hand it to Honorable Chagwe, it's going to be worse, it's going to be terrible in the country, and I don't like it. Look at what happened in Kayunga. I'm going to finish. What happened in Kayunga? Could they suppress the fire that was in these Kayunga riots? Where were they? It's going to be terrible. The way to stop Museveni out of power is these people that have the guns, that are in danger because they have been supporting him, is to make sure that they themselves get rid of him out of power and kick him out.
All right, so the father was serious that the son was killed because of tribalism.
I think, you know, and the father is running in here, and I was shocked for such statements to be coming out of him. And maybe, you know, the statements I've been reading around is I think the late talked to the Askari in a very arrogant manner. Now I see where the late picks it from. Because for the father to come up and say, oh, his son was killed because he's a Banyankole, then so many Banyankole have really been involved in killing other people. You saw Kanyamunyu and the guy at, was it Akena? Yep. Was Akena Munyankole? So how comes they did not come up to say, oh, Kanyamunyu killed Akena because he's an Acholi? Leave alone that incident. There is Desh, the boy who was killed at one of those bars in Kampala, the guy who was beaten to death.
Desh Kananura's case. Yes,
Kananura's case. Kananura was a Mnyankole, the guy he killed, maybe a Muganda, who complained about that. But it's so unfair when people, like a person you would expect to be mature and intelligent, to come up and start adding tribalism to such issues. So what is so special about Banyankole that he had to be killed? If maybe he really aggrieved the other gentleman, the guy who had a gun. Maybe spoke to him in a very arrogant manner because he's a Mnyankole. Then he felt, since Banyankole in power, maybe he felt, he's less of a person, him being an Askari. So we should, I think we should take this beyond tribalism, and we also take away the arrogance, because if we are to go back to every Ugandan who has been killed, look at Sebulime. Sebulime, was he killed? How comes the Baganda have not come out to complain that Sebulime was killed because he was a Muganda? So I think the father literally has to retrieve his statement. There's nothing special about Banyankole that people have to pinpoint them and kill them. So many Baganda have been killed. So many Northerners have been killed. Chirumira was killed. Kawesi was killed. So many people have been killed. And they are not Banyankole. And Baganda have not come out, or any other tribe, to start attaching tribalism to whatever is happening in the country. So we should, it is unfortunate, because I'm not going to sit here and applaud what the gentleman did by taking another person's life. It was wrong, but I do not know what situation it was, what caused the heated moment for this other person to feel like they need to shoot this person. Maybe the way they were speaking to them. And just like I said, if the father can arrogantly say he was killed because he's a Mnyankore, I do not know what the son said to this young man to end up killing him. So I think we should move past tribalism because, and again, one thing you must understand, Uganda is a country, there are a lot of intermarriages in Uganda that are, even it is hard to find who is a real Muganda. When you go back to your history and lineage, you're going to find someone came in or your parent moved from one area to another. So I think Uganda is not a country that should really feed on true tribalism. We are past that. We are not those countries where you have strong ties on tribes, where this tribe does not, you know. I think we are past that. It was very unfortunate coming from an educated guy, and I'm sorry for the loss of his son. It's an unfortunate incident that happened.
All right, so Richard,
there's something more I wanted to add on. If it's not tribalism, a guy, the askari who shoots this man, he's arrested. He's taken to the, maybe whatever he was taken. The security forces, the army, the special force command, everywhere is 90% Banyankore now. Who could beat a man, an armed man that had been arrested, to the extent of taking him to court? Because if you see the Ugandan newspaper that I was reading about, the man was brought on a stretcher in the court, and the magistrate told him, I cannot even remand this person. He was passing out blood, urine, and feces in court. Who tortured him, and why would they torture them if they are not tribalistic? Who is fooling who here? Who is fooling who here that they are not tribalistic? And the man was killed because, yes, was killed because of tribalism, which I agree, because of the wrongdoing Museveni's policy has created in the country, giving bread to other people. And the only thing that is going to stop this is Uganda to go into total federation. We need a constitutional conference as Ugandans to put Uganda into a federation, not on Museveni's policy. No, a new Uganda is to share the national cake in all the people that are supposed to be in Uganda, whatever you are. But this business of saying that you are going to give the bread to one people is going to bleed more hatred to other people.
No, but you see why we're using this platform. I want us to diverge away from creating, because if we start preaching tribalism, we will go where Rwanda was maybe 15 years ago. If we start preaching tribalism, completely we'll go there. But maybe it will be hard because of, I said, the intermarriages happening. Because if we are going to look at it keenly and say it was a tribalistic decision by this guy from the north to kill this other guy, then was Kawesi killed because of tribalism? Was Chirumira killed because of tribalism? And if we pay attention more to tribalism and say we are going to have more people being killed in Kampala, in Uganda, and people are going to base it on tribalism, yet the mafias are doing their job. Mafias are going to start killing people and they are going to throw it to tribalism. Was Sebuliwe killed because of tribalism? Sebuliwe was not a thief? Sebuliwe was he killed because of tribalism? So many Ugandans have been killed. And if we start to drive it in the direction of tribalism, we are going to fail to find out. So many women were killed on Entebbe Road. Were they killed because they were of a certain tribe? We should accept insecurities in Uganda. There's a lot of insecurity. We do not know what happened. And for me, what I'm saying, it is wrong for this guy to come to stand and when they are on the vigil and say his son was killed because of a Mnyankole. But Mnyankole has killed, they've killed so many people and no one has labeled them. So many people have been killed. So many Ugandans have lost their lives in the hands of Banyankole.
In other words, you're trying to mean that he again proved the level of arrogance.
Yes. It was those are statements, because what is so special about Banyankole that they have to be killed? What are these other people that have been killed? What was Chirumira was killed? He was a very vocal person who speaks and stands for the rights of the normal people. So Chirumira was killed because he was a Muganda. Was Kawes killed because he was a Muganda? We know very well Chirumira was killed because of exposing the mafias. So if we start involving, you know, deeper tribalist instincts into this, then the mafias, whoever is involved in killing and silencing these people, is going to go away with whatever they are doing, because we are running away from the real issues. Who is killing these people? The mafias are taking over the country, and we are going to just base it on, oh, this other person is, it is tribal, it is tribal, it is tribal. I don't think it was tribalistic. I think the exchange, whatever happened between these two people, we do not know. Maybe the people, the witnesses can tell us, and maybe he angered the Askari. Maybe he abused him. Maybe he, you know, he treated him like garbage. You know, people have different levels of anger. And where we are right now in Uganda, people are so depressed. People are going through so many things that are, you know, you give a guy a gun who has not eaten, who has his personal issues, and then because you're driving a car, you're well off, and you start bragging around and mistreating other people, people are going to shoot you. No matter, because I don't think this guy even knew his tribe at that point in time. Because we don't have labels. There are some people who are Banyankole from the West, but they, unless they speak, even when they speak, you can't tell they are from there because of maybe their background and where they started from. So I don't think it was tribalistic. It was, I think people, the other one hungered, you know, I don't know what this other gentleman was killed say to this one that made him so annoyed and felt the only weapon he had to use was to kill him.
All right, sure. Thank you so much. Richard, I'm not going to take you back to that because it's a lot of crap that many people are angry. Some are happy about what happened and others are not. But let me go straight to this last week. We had a lot of issues concerning with the exported labor. In other words, the girls and the boys, the men and the women who are exported to Middle East for work. Now, the most interesting part about this story was that people are earning money. We understand the government is earning millions of money. It was reported by the East African paper that Uganda now earns up to 1.2 billion US dollars. That is a tremendous improvement in terms of how much income gets into the country. Now, the most important part that personally I was watching the show in one of the local media houses, NBS. And then there was a lady who said, we should appreciate the government for signing a bilateral agreement between Uganda and Saudi Arabia for exporting young girls and men to these countries to go and work as maids and the rest. Who is to blame in this game? Should we blame the government, the people, or the owners of these organizations? Sarah, I want to start with you.
I think, you know, I've been closely watching and listening to what is happening with our brothers and sisters in the Middle East. You see, I think the government of Uganda, is going to take the blame 90%. Because we want to blame the young girls and the men and women for keeping on going to these other countries, even after seeing their, you know, some of them being brought back bedridden, you know, on stretchers, on you know, wheelchairs. But Uganda is really tough. Everyone is like, you know what, let me just go and try my chance. Maybe things are going to be better for me. So as much as I want to blame Ugandans for keeping on going there, sometimes, you know, the situation is really bad. You're like, let me try my luck. But if you look at the history, if you try to, why I blame the government is in these Arab countries, slavery is low.
Right.
In Arab countries, you are allowed to own a slave, someone who works for you. So now the government, all these organizations that the government is giving, because all the companies that are running this business of taking people to Saudi Arabia, to Arab countries, are licensed by the Ministry of Labor. Whoever is giving these people licenses to be able to operate, and that is the government of Uganda, is entirely to blame. Because do they understand that the countries where they are sending our brothers and sisters, slavery is low? Because if slavery is low, do not expect the people in these other countries to be treated any better. Because for them, the Arabs are buying a slave. And I want you to analyze and look at how the transaction is done. You go to an agency, you want to be taken to whatever country, Oman, Dubai, all those countries, Saudi Arabia, you know, they've advertised they're taking maids. Or they are taking, usually those affected are the ladies. They advertise they're taking so and so. They are charging them about $3,000. That's about 10 million plus. But at the same time, the sponsor on the other side pays money. And what I discovered when I was watching on TV, you know, people who are breaking down what is in these agreements, the sponsor pays about $7,000. So basically, the sponsor buys this young girl. So if the sponsor is paying $7,000, let's say, and then this person in Uganda here, this young girl, also puts in money, like you pay the agency, whatever is taking $3,000. So the agency are making $10,000. So they pay off your ticket. They tell you, oh, you're supposed to pay $3,000, and maybe you're going to earn maybe $300 or $400 or $1 million a month. So you're excited because in Uganda you cannot even make $100,000 a month. So you're excited, but you forget what you do not know, that a person in Abu Dhabi, a person in Dubai, a person in Oman, a person in the sponsor where you're going has already bought your life. That's why the problem you get is if you've been watching or listening to all these girls' stories, when they get to the country, the places where they're going to work, their documents, passports are taken away. Their documents are taken away. If you go to police, the police cannot help you because you're running away from your master. Your master bought you. You are a slave. In Arab countries, slavery is law, and they are allowed by law to have slaves. So the police cannot help you because you are a slave. And remember, this guy paid money for you to go and work for him as a slave, but you also paid money. So these organizations, whoever owned them, I've heard theories that these organizations are owned, the agencies taking these girls are owned by people in government. We need to get to the root cause of this, because it is our fellow Ugandans selling our brothers and sisters into slavery, no way. Because if the sponsor is going to give you 7,000, you know, US dollars, and you're taking 3,000 US dollars from this girl, for example, even if you're taking them to Dubai, a ticket doesn't cost the ticket is only about maybe $400, $500. So these people are pocketing huge amounts of money on behalf of our sisters and brothers, and they end up suffering enormously. Because how do you tell now? Because the issue I was trying to understand, how are these girls mistreated? Who is mistreating them? But if someone has paid $7,000 onto you, like he bought you $7,000, and on top of that he has to pay for you monthly. He has to pay a salary. So you're his property. They are free to treat you how they treat you. That's why you see, I've seen situations where you find girls have given their testimonies where maybe 10 of them are being used by, you know, one of them, you know, you're in a family, there are 5 boys, everyone is sleeping on you. I'll give a personal testimony of someone I know. This one is a nephew of mine. This boy, and also boys are suffering, it's not only girls. This boy ended up into Dubai. One of the agencies took him. He ended up in, I don't know what he ended up, and then his employees said that one time, I think I was in Kampala, he called me and he said he was sick. I'm like, what are you suffering from? They said he was going for an operation. What the story he did not tell us. They paid him money. They had promised him money to sell off one of his kidneys. This boy, health as he is, he goes into an operation. One of his kidneys is taken away, and he's not even given the money. So in the process of, you know, I don't know even what they did to him, because by the time he came back to Kampala, he was mad. He ended up in Butabika now. He lost his kidney, he was in Butabika. So all these stories, in fact, I had to call one of the people, I sent one of the persons I know in Dubai who had been there for some time and say, do you know this guy? And the guy told me the story. He said, oh, that one was involved and they put him into a kidney scam. Until when now I talked to, that's when I told him, I need the truth. Tell me exactly what happened. What operation were you having? That's when you discovered. They took his kidney, and now in the process of, they deported him back to Uganda. So it is, a lot is happening, not only to girls.
Right.
Boys are also being abused in Dubai, in these Arab countries.
Richard, I want to come to you. A few years ago, Uganda said they had no agreement with UAE. They banned any export to countries like Oman. Now, Uganda, the same government, is coming out to say that we have an agreement with Saudi Arabia, so it's okay for us to export our children. Now, the most important part that I want you to add on, or maybe you have a different view, is why is it okay for Ugandans to export fellow Ugandans, like teachers, doctors, and maybe professors, who are jobless in Uganda and they're exported to these countries as askaris, as housemates. Does it make any sense to you?
Let me tell you, first of all, viewers that are listening to us tonight, I'm going to give you my opinion. A few years ago, I took a young boy, he's in Rwanda. He was a friend of my son. I took him to school. After senior 6, he went to look for a job. And he was being paid 170 Ugandan shillings a month, which is $50. Right. He was very lucky to get this job. After 2 months, he could not continue because the money was spending on transport and eating, staying at his mother's house. He could not even save 20,000 Ugandan shillings a month. So he gave up and sat home. What is happening in Uganda, the reason why Uganda is exporting Ugandans and encouraging to export Ugandans into other countries is a time bomb. I'll give you an example of South Africa. The South African people, the white supremacist people, for so long thought that the black people were not fit. If you look at Nelson Mandela's book, The Long Walk to Freedom, he said by 1950, it was a policy of the white people to make sure that a black man does not get education that he wants that to make him transform into something that is very useful. The same tool Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the president of Uganda, has used. If you ask him for 33 years, what did he do to transform the economy of Uganda? He said that he was busy on the security for 33 years. A country is transformed. You look at Obama, what he did here. America has gone into transformation, renaissance, industrial age, computer. Uganda has not even transformed in the 33 years of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. And now what you're seeing is that they're fearing that because the unemployment will spark off a revolution because everyone is idle. They must get these people out of the country, however, where they can get out to earn something. Right. I think it's part of his failed policy that Uganda should get him out of this country. The country has to go into transformation. That's we encourage Uganda to fight for a change, that we can get a Uganda that we want to transform it into creating jobs, high-paying jobs. It's going to be possible. I was giving an example last week. You were saying that the way you create this was Honorable Chagwany. How did he become a friend to the American people? How did the American people transform China? And now China is transforming Uganda. It was Americans that transformed China. How? By exporting or outsourcing jobs into a country. If Yoweri Kaguta Museveni gets out of power, that does not like to work with the American people, wants to work with the China, what people power is going to do is to transform the country. Transform the country. Make sure that we make friends with European Union, the British, and the American for outsourcing jobs there that are paying at least $7 an hour, that people should not be taken as slaves to other countries to work for free and die there. It's wrong. It's a government policy.
All right, so I want to make my closing argument on the issue of the women, the children who are exported to these countries. We should understand that it's total BS for any member who works for the government or public office to come out and say it's a good deal when young men and women who are strong enough to transform our economy in Uganda are exported to these countries. It is okay for someone to say, I am going to a country so and so, maybe I'm going to USA to work as a person, not just as an agreement between the governments. It is total BS that these guys are selling fellow Ugandans who are brought back in Uganda in coffins. They are brought back on wheelchairs, and the government has accepted that, and they want us as Ugandan people to appreciate what they are doing. Now, to me, I would say total BS to whoever said the statement on the national TV, on one of the mainstream media houses in Uganda, for you to come out to say to Ugandans that we should appreciate the government for signing a bilateral agreement. That is wastage of our airtime on media, and it's wastage of government money, it's wastage of all the resources. Now, I'm sorry I've got a little bit mad about this story, but because I have been following up the many girls and men who are brought back in Uganda in coffins, the many women who are mistreated, raped, and the government hasn't done anything. It takes a lot of money. They were celebrating about the 1.2 billion Ugandan shillings or US dollars they earn every year. out of the money got from these countries. But they don't think about how do you create more jobs, like Richard said. How do you create more jobs so that these countries can outsource or bring back their companies in our country so that we can have more employment opportunities. Now that, I leave it to you, and I leave it to you guys. And again, I apologize for being a little bit strict today, but that is something that touches as many Ugandans as possible, because many people have lost their relatives. Many relatives have lost opportunities from their children who are being killed in these countries, and the government does nothing. Guys, I want to go. Yeah, sure.
You see, for me, as much as we address the issue for the girls, talk to your brothers who are in these countries. The guys are raped. But maybe the guys are not waiting enough to disclose this. They are either put, you know, a guy goes into a home and maybe the driver and all that, all of a sudden, I don't know what they give them. They start falling sick. You end up in hospital. You do not know. I hear you had an operation for ulcers and all these crazy things. They lose their kidneys. Also, the men are suffering. We are losing able people, because just imagine your kidney is taken out illegally, unwillingly. You've not signed NY, you have one. What if tomorrow you're going to end up with one kidney failing and then you get into trouble? There is a lot, and government of Uganda is responsible for this. I do not know whether the mission of President Museveni and the people in government is to kill off, you know, the young generation. Maybe by 2021 you have fewer people. But for you to celebrate, we get this amount of money, yet on the other hand, so many young girls and boys are into deep slavery that is even beyond your imagination. It is really unfair and so sad.
All right, thank you. I want to go back to now, before we close the show. Normally, today, in the middle of the show, I said that the lines are going to be open, so people are going to be given an opportunity to call in. I've been informed by my producer that there is a call that is coming in. Again, I want to read for you the number before we start receiving some calls from people who are online and those who are here in North America, or even those who are going to call via WhatsApp. So the number for those who are in North America, it is 617-402-0880. And those who are calling via WhatsApp, it is +277-622-6233. Thank you so much. So let me receive just one call before, guys, I bring you back to. All right, so I've been told that we're still working on that. Sure. So guys, getting away from that, this week towards the end, there was a post done by one of the I call them social preachers or pastors in Uganda, those who are always in the limelight, who understand media very well today. And it's something that really struck my mind when I saw the government coming in. And that is Evangelist Joseph Kabuleta, detained in an unknown jail. It was remembered, it's on record, that one time within this week he posted something against the first son. And today, when you speak against the president or even the family member, it is a crime. That we know. Even us here in USA, we know it's for sure that we are always at risk. But we have to talk about these things, because these guys in the government and their purpose is supposed to serve the community. So, guys, this guy was arrested. What do you make of it? I want to start with you. Let me start with Richard before I come to Sarah. What do you make of the government starting to arrest people without a warranty? And then when media houses start asking police officers, where is this guy? They say, we don't know where he is. And then after they come back and say, we have the guy. What do you make of it?
People who have just, I don't know the ages of people, because the country has gone into transition of ages. But people who know President Museveni very well, when he came to power, they used to publish him in every newspaper, cartoons, and no one could be arrested. President Museveni, when he came in as a liberator, we used to stand on the streets, clap for him as a liberator. They would do anything, abuse him, show anything that talk about him. He would not answer because it was for the people. Now he's fighting against the people to get him out. That's why he is putting all this oppression to the people that speak out. He has to know that his days are numbered of getting out of power. However way he wants, yes or not. that even if he suppresses these people like Kabuleta, this Stella Nyanzi, this Bajo, this me, this you who are open out on the media to attack his policy and his government, it's not going to save him. He must vacate peacefully and go to Rachitola and sit down as an old man and take care of his cows and go to the heaven peacefully. But whatever he does and oppress people will not stop us attacking him every day, because it's our right. We cannot see our country to the extent where he has taken it. There's no fair election. It's life presidency. The army is in control. The economy is bad. The contracts and the jobs are for only one group of people. Everything is wrong. We cannot keep quiet on our country. It is our country. You add on from that.
All right, so Sarah, I want to come to you. We should be on record that the cases of such people like Joseph Kabuleta, Stella Nyanzi, over offensive communication, which is, in other words, it's under the Computer Misuse Act, is rising. There are many people who are being arrested. Bajo was arrested out of that, and many other activists. What do you make of that? Does it make any sense to you?
But you see, if President Museveni and his son, all the first family, do not want to be talked about, there's one simple thing to do. Let them, languish power, go back and live as private citizens, and mind their own business. No one will, because President Museveni cannot stop Ugandans for talking about him. 33 years of being in power, yet Ugandans, you've not delivered to Uganda, they'll talk about you. Muhoozi, if your first son, there's Muhoozi, I'll say it again, Muhoozi is a drunkard. And one time I said it and people were attacking me, I'm like, but he's a drunkard. What's wrong with that? That is a mere truth. He's a drunkard. That's it. And so I saw what Kabuleta wrote, that basically he was saying that he kind of said that Muhoozi was dense. If he was, maybe he would be the second in line in power. There is nothing he said that was wrong. Everything he said was right. Because if Museveni had any succession plan, it would have been his son. But Museveni knows himself his son does not have potential to lead the country. That's why Museveni is insisting to stay in power till when he dies. So I've seen the likes of Bajo. What did Bajo say that led him to be put in prison? Everything Bajo said was the truth. What has Stella Nyanzi said? What has Stella Nyanzi said? Stella Nyanzi has a PhD in sexology. Everything Stella Nyanzi, she used metaphors to express what she felt. There is nothing wrong Stella wrote. There is no case there. But you see, I think, when you stay long in power, you master the game of, you want to instill fear in everyone. And I think what they're doing right now, they're at a stage where they know. I think President Museveni has accepted Ugandans are tired. He sees it. Don't think he's blind. He follows social media. He follows everything that is happening. They know Ugandans are tired and they know Ugandans are desperate for change. So when you're leading people who are tired, desperate for change, and they're not backing down, they're really demanding for whatever they're demanding for and they need that, what do? Instill fear. Start arresting whoever says something small. Because I didn't say anything wrong. He said Muhoozi was dull and dense. And that is, for me, I would take that, because if Museveni had any plans of saying, okay, I cannot give my power to any stranger out there, at least let me give one person from my family, it would have been his son. But he's not even about to give power to his son. So what does that tell us about what is happening? But just said nothing wrong. But Ugandans back home should know the fear is not going to stop. If you're speaking out, just know you're speaking out, and the next time you're going to be arrested if you speak out. But if you speak out and you're standing on the truth, then there's nothing to worry about of you speaking out. Because at the end of the day, this is what the dictatorship is about.
All right,
is bound to do.
Sure. Let me read to our viewers some of the posts that this gentleman, Joseph Kabuleta, has been posting in the recent past. On Monday last week, he wrote on his weekly rant. He said, Mafia Empire and the Transition. Now, I want to read one comment, and I want to I'll get back to Richard immediately after reading it to you and the viewers. There is where he said, there is a war chest. The billions that have been set apart for the purpose. NRMPs approved the $379 million for the fake Lubuurwa hospital investor because they were told it's the money they will be given for campaigns. And that's not about all. More money will be minted and printed for that purpose because the godfather, having gathered illicit wealth for 35 years, will be looking to keep it within the family. After all, they say there is no success without a successor. What do you make of that point? Does that really add on why he needed to be ambushed and arrested in such a manner?
Let me tell people that are viewing us this here, that are listening us to tonight. Let us not be fooled. We joined politics when we were 14, and we have seen everything. When Muhoozi became an LDU, he started training in Kasenyi with his group that he got out of Makere. And people say, oh, he's engaging his son into politics. Then Muhoozi went into the army. Then came the time of Nyakairima. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Look at where Muhoozi is in the army. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Muhoozi is going... Because the people that are going to determine the politics of the succession of the country is the high command in the NRA. I know it very well. Would you think that Muhoozi being part of the high command of the NRA, they are going to choose the vice president as the next president of Uganda? Or what is going to happen? If they have failed to take over the election that has been rigged, the Ugandans, would you think in the morning, if they wake up and say the high command has chosen Muhoozi as the president till the next election, the people are going to object it? So this Muhoozi project, that as a succession for Uganda, it's true. Unless we come to solidarity and remove Museveni out of power, it's going to be possible. If you, as Chagwan, Honorable Chagwan says, that's solidarity. The people of Poland, the people of Estonia, when time came, all of them, because that's the opportunity we are waiting for, they all came together and took over the cities and took off all the streets and took over government by themselves to make sure that the people that were oppressing them from the Soviet Union set them free. We are not going to be free unless we wake up. But this Muhoozi project that the family of President Museveni is not supposed to be talked about is wrong. If we are to liberate our country, if we have to have a new Uganda, we know now without fear. But this Muhoozi project is the truth unless we stop it.
All right, so sure. Now I want to go back to the viewers. The lines are open. I read the numbers earlier, and so you are free to now call in. We can receive 2 or 3 calls, one on WhatsApp or direct call from here around North America. We can, come and discuss. It's a free world. Politics stories like that. You bring in different ideas and tell us what you think, and we go on. So guys. It's the same story that is still going on, and people are being arrested. And I'm pretty much sure that some of you guys, when you go back to Uganda, you're going to be arrested because you've been against the government for so long. But that's none of my business. My business is for you guys to come and digest issues and to hear from what other people are saying. But it should be put on record that many people are being arrested in Uganda. Our investigators are still digging deep to tell us more of the names. Very soon we'll be putting out a report at CFTV Network, and you guys will be in position to read and digest, and people will let us know. So let me get back to our stories again about the same guy, Joseph Kablet. I think there is a strong reason why he was arrested. Over the time, he's a pastor. And in Uganda, pastors are well known to be supportive of the government in most cases. But he's a pastor who is against the government. It makes sense when they say that he will, with much effort and power and reasoning, he misused the Computer Misuse Act. So wouldn't that be a reason for why he needed to be arrested? And it justifies what the Constitution is all about.
Let me tell you, viewers, who is the true man of God?
By the way, before you go on, Richard, the lines again are open, so you can call in as Richard is talking.
Who is the true man of God? If Kabuleta, as a pastor and a former journalist, comes out and speaks the truth and is arrested, what about those people, the pastors in Uganda, that are collecting money Every day, every night, the people that they are telling me they have to collect a yearly income from the state house so that they do what? They talk for the government and make sure the population that's not raised against them. Okay.
All right, sure. So we have one viewer who is calling in right now. So hello. I'm still waiting for my producers to connect me. I'm pretty much sure they are fixing it. That one is gone. So guys,
okay, let me finish this. You see, for me, I've been studying President Museveni all my life, ever since I was a young boy. And I've known his ways that he's manipulating the country. What role does he play? What character represents exactly what he did? If you look at exactly, I said it last week, Napoleon Bonaparte is exactly the same character that has been playing. What did he use in part of his ways to suppress the people that were in his empire? Religion.
Sure.
Religion. He never liked religion, but he used as a tool.
All right. So yeah, let me first answer. Please let me know your names and probably where you're calling from. And yeah, hello. Yeah, hello. Yes.
You people are discussing your own strategies. What I'm seeing, the problem will go forward. The problem will go forward. You have to be strategic. When I let you do this, the Jakora, when you let you do this, the Jakora, going on the ground, tell me to have in the deep, we read the offensive book, and capture the money you offensive book. Take the year to get a producer. You're going to put down a room such as Finger, make it, and you win away the ground.
All right. Do you mind? All right. So he's been taken off. Yeah. Hello. Do you mind if? Yeah. Sure. We can hear you. Yeah. We can hear you. All right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Do you mind if you tell us your name or where you're calling from? All right. Thank you so much. Now, guys, that's upon you guys. Richard, I want
Let me finish it.
Finish up, then I'll pose the same question the guy has asked to you guys.
Let me tell the guy that has been calling in. You cannot win a war. We are not premature politician. We are mature politicians. You don't win a war like you have in Uganda to liberate a country without an international political wing. That's why we are analyzing issues from here.
All right. So
the second thing,
sure,
you don't win a war. That's is taught in a military academy. You don't win a war by dying for your country. You win a war by making the other person die for his country. That's the logic of winning. What we're speaking tonight with her and me and Lubuurwa in Uganda, in the studio in Uganda, I don't think you'll hear us the next week. We would have died for our country without achieving our goal. That's why we are here. We are playing a role of awakening you people so that you have a conference about Uganda to help the people on ground.
All right. So yeah, again, I want to put it clear. Maybe the caller didn't understand where we are. We are in the United States, so the only way the Ugandans here, like these who support People Power movement and all, the only way they can speak is through these platforms. And then when we come online, those who watch us from online, that's when you can hear us or hear the views or get to understand what this guy is talking about. But they cannot be doing two things in the United States and in Uganda at the same time. So that's the only option. Sarah, let me get you. In response to the question that you guys in People Power are not playing a greater role on ground to do things just like Dr. Besigye is doing.
I think he just wanted to pass out the message that Dr. Besigye is in Nebi.
No.
And thank you, we appreciate. We get you very clearly. I think Dr. Besigye is also looking for what we need change. So if he's in Nebi, good for him. Let him further and tell whoever is out there that we really need change in Uganda. I think that's the message you wanted to put across out there, that Besigye is in Nebi. Because, yes, we acknowledge and accept that we have to be more on ground, and that's something we are working on a daily basis, to be on ground. And he must know not everyone is going to be in Kampala. But what is happening this time around, you have also the diaspora involved in the issues of what is happening in Uganda. I think we take out time from our busy schedules to follow up what is happening on the news, what is happening everywhere. And we are so lucky we live in a digital era whereby you do not have to wait for someone to give you a phone call, tell you what is happening in Uganda. It's all over social media. All the traditional media houses are streaming live on social media right now. So you can watch and see things and be able to pick out what you want to analyze. But if Dr. Besigye is opposition, he wants change, it is good he's on ground and down in Nebi doing what he's supposed to do if he really wants change. So I don't think there's really a big issue that Dr. Besigye is in Nebi.
All right, so I'm only going to expect one more call from the viewers. It could be from WhatsApp. The number is +27. You may be wondering, I think this is a South African code. So +27 73622 6233. That is on WhatsApp. And those who are here in the United States or North America, you can call 617 402 0880. Thank you. So guys, politics always in Uganda is always about tribalism, is always about who abuses the president. And by the way, before we close the show, there was a time, and I want to ask you guys, you must have followed this story. There was a time when it was okay to draw President Museveni in cartoons. We used to see them in Book a Day, News Vision, and other papers. What happened this time that the president is so mad at people who abuse him?
I think, those are kicks of a dying horse. The President Museveni at this time, before sometimes you have the illusions. If you look at most of the campaigns he's been running, he's been running campaigns in an illusion that are Ugandans.
All right, sure. So I'm going to ask my producer to pick up that call, and we'll hear from. Please let us know where you're watching us from, and you may not tell us your name for your safety. Yeah, hello.
Yeah, I've never called previously.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm in Montreal.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but my discussion is like this. Someone with something being against. So, when the people probably we appreciate it. But they don't cover everyone. We've been the diaspora, but we appreciate people who are on the ground. And again, what I've seen of today is that most of the people
right, sure. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for calling and thank you for your time. Now, guys, just as we are closing the show, I want you guys to respond to the gentleman. He is from Montreal, Canada. He has an argument. You guys are taking Bobi Wine as a god.
The purpose of the struggle is winning, not who is out on the show. The strategy of winning and changing Uganda, the ego now, the star, is on Honorable Chamberlain. Honorable Besigye is my personal friend. Even when he comes here, I've been with him, I've eaten lunch, I've moved around with him, even in town hall meeting, even I have his phone, we even communicate. I told him always that he's emphasizing more on the ground in Uganda than also occupying the international community into the affairs of the country. The way Honorable Chagwen, the way he came out, where he has picked up momentum around the world, is through the international community. That's what I was telling Besigye. You can even call him. I can even set up a call and call him live here. I've been telling him this. You have to focus even on the diaspora. Now that the winning team is focused on Honorable Chagwen, and by the way, they have an agreement, Honorable Chagwen and Dr. Besigye are in agreement that they are going to use the structures of FDC. What is important more? Is it to win or to focus on something that is not there?
All right. Sarah? Yeah, the gentleman is very serious. You guys are taking Bobi Wine as a god of Uganda.
I think he's just draining us from what we've been talking about. Because I don't think there is any fight between Bobi Wine and Dr. Besigye. I've not heard of any of recent. If there is, please, you need to enlighten me, because there is so much that keeps happening. I don't think there is a fight between the two. I think there cannot be any fight. Dr. Besigye has been in this game for a long time, over 20 years. And if the young people of Uganda have spoken and said, oh, we need to see someone, another face of opposition, and they feel Bobi Wine should be the face of opposition, I don't think we should have any bad blood or feel like he's the god. Because at one moment in time, there's a time when Besigye was the darling. There is a point in time where Besigye could never be wrong. And Ugandans believed and followed him up. And I think it's just prudent for people to want to see another person, take up the mantle and see how things are going to be done. And I don't think it has any issue with Bobi Wine being a god and all that. Or maybe Bobi Wine has risen at a time where people want to see another leader, a young person, a person who has any history with President Museveni. They've never been in the bush. It's someone, because, every time President Museveni talks about Besigye, you see a lot of personal vendetta comes up. They have personal issues, and maybe feels like he cannot languish power to Besigye because of ABC and D. And that's not what we are looking at. I think we are in a better space right now. Ugandans they know what they want. Maybe Ugandans have spoken that they want Chagulanyi to carry on the mantle for 2021. I think he's just taking us back where we are not. And that's not what we're talking about.
We cannot go far from that, and I want to thank you all guys for watching the show. I want to thank you for your ideas, your suggestions. We have been receiving them, and we continue receiving them. But what you're doing is really interesting, and we appreciate all the time you put in to watch Uganda Crossroads, and of course, following the programs we have here on CFTV and Live MTV Live, those who get some of our programs on Facebook Live. So we want to appreciate you and thank you, and keep following us throughout the week. We will always be updating you on political, economic, sports, and all others, so that you can always be up to date with what we can offer. CFTV, we always believe facts first before we release anything. So guys, I want to thank you so much, Sarah. I want to thank you, Richard. It's a pleasure having you all guys around, and have a great time, have a great week. See you next Saturday, same time.